I've seen your recording as well.
Oh, yes. Okay, so let's begin. First things first, my warmest greetings to our wonderful audience. I hope you're doing really, really well. We're getting closer to the end of the year, and so there's lots of stuff going on. I wish you well. I wish your loved ones well. Welcome. Thank you for your valuable time, and I hope that you enjoy our conversation. Your two friendly neighborhood wizards are back, and let's see what we can kick up this time. Welcome.
Welcome, everyone. Yeah, I was a little late. I was just Man United one, so I was
Of-
good. My 3D life. Yeah.
Okay, so we were just starting before the recording with law of attraction and quantum shifting, or like jumping from timelines to others. So, Philip, get started, and I'll jump
Yeah.
in as we progress.
This is basically carrying on from last week, sorry. We will go into aliens and other things after this, but we missed last week about law of attraction. Law of attraction is basically there's two ways about this. This is one, attracting your vibration. So just say you always attract the opposite set, or the one you attract is basically beats you up all the time. You always attract, like your vibration attracts us. Or you're in low vibration and you're doing, say, an ayahuasca event or a mushroom event, and you wonder why you're seeing demons. It's because your vibration is in that low state. So if you ever do these things that can open the veil too much, try and be in an high vibration when you start it, or you can be in really serious trouble. But also another way is if you're an empath, you can manifest this sort of being in your life that needs your healing in your way. You need to heal it. You need to take the pain from the person, and that is another. So all these are manifestations in a way, but they're your unintentional manifestation in your vibration. Have you got something to add to that?
Well, manifestation is the creation of a complete form, a mind form in the causal plane. And then once that form is consolidated, like lightning striking between 2 points, it finds the path of least resistance and manifests. So it's important that we have perfect alignment in all aspects of our consciousness. So you mentioned the level of vibration. That is absolutely correct. If we have certain obstructions or trauma or wounding or attachments to low vibrational beings, this is absolutely going to affect the quality of our projected mind form or mental form. So if you're in a bad place, it's probably not the best idea to go towards plant medicine, because the plant is going to do its job. The spirit is going to show you what you need to see. And sometimes that is very intense. So let's just put it this way. Certain practices are not for beginners who just begin without the correct understanding, or have spent the time on clearing and healing themselves. So that could be actually very traumatic for a person, to be faced with the big picture and all the work that lies in front of them in terms of healing and liberating themselves. So we do attract what we send out. So, in my humble opinion, the matrix and this system of karma, in the most simple way, we can think of it as a reflection or as a mirror. So we emanate out a certain type of energy, a certain level of consciousness, and then that is um, reflected back to us identically without any change. And so you have probably heard that gratitude brings in more reasons for being grateful. Being in a mindset of joy and health brings in more of it. And so this has made it into the folklore and traditions of many, many cultures. For example, a term that money brings more money. God help you if you're in a hole. then you're really in trouble. You got to really push to get out and then get the flow of abundance going. So this would be a description of this law of attraction and how manifestation occurs. Something else that is worthwhile to keep in mind, energetically, things happen almost instantly. Let's just say they happen instantaneously. But then in the physical world, there is a sequence or there is time involved. This happens, which leads then to this happening, and then this one, and then this one. So you have to be aware that from the moment that you set the manifestation in place, there is an aspect of timing. This cannot be avoided. Now, with practice and with effort and continued dedication, the duration of delay becomes shorter, but it is not completely eliminated. So something is set in motion. Think of a waterfall. The water that leaves the edge of the cliff, it takes time to reach the bottom and the pond underneath it. This is usually involved in this process. So you got to be patient. The worst thing one can do is start panicking. Oh, why? And right after it, you're basically then manifesting parasitic noise into the events.
Yeah, you froze a second then.
Now this is crazy. I've got 5G connection, 250 megabits per second. It's pretty good. And then for some reason I get interfered with. You know what? Let's play our singing bowls and
Yeah.
set out, yes, to deal with the
Okay.
interference.
Did it again?
Oh yeah.
I've got me. Okay, good idea. Start it.
Wonderful. Okay. So hopefully that'll take care of any consciousness that's messing around. And let me also cleanse my space. Little Palo Santo. So sage, Palo Santo, incense. It's basically a shamanic practice. This now finds its way into every culture. From Australia, Africa, Europe, Asia. I'm not quite sure about the shamans in the northern parts, the Eskimo, but I know in Mongolia they have the same practice, so it's pretty widespread. The use of the element of fire, transmuting energy, and so towards our wonderful audience and my esteemed colleague, I send the intentions of uplifting, purifying and healing, getting rid of all that does not belong, and now towards myself, cleansing my space and uplifting my energy. Excellent. That should take care of it.
Yeah, I was going to say I've got a experience actually about the going to an ayahuasca event in a low vibration. Not me, but a friend of mine went to Barcelona to take ayahuasca with the shamans, and I knew she was in a very low vibration at the time, and I was getting a bit worried about it. So I told her to look at the sky, and when you look at the sky, ignore the shamans, and you'll see the moon. And she started seeing demons, family members that are all demonic, started seeing demons family while she was on ayahuasca in the tent. And she crawled her way out, and the shamans told her not to look up, but she remembered what I said. She looked up and she said the clouds just parted and the moon shone, and the moon just cleansed all this vibration that she was taking from the plant medicine. The plant medicine wasn't low vibration, it was just, as you were saying, was giving projection of the actual vibration she was in, because they don't know. They might think that you're demonic if you know vibration. They just don't know, do they? So
You
that was
know,
an experience. That took me a big job to actually get the cloud to moon to appear. So,
Philip, I've come across this now a few times. Yeah, you see this whole plant medicine and ayahuasca is turned into a little industry. Now, especially in developing countries in South and Central America, this is massive money, considering the local wages and how much they charge Western tourists to take part in this. And so the correct shamanic practice sometimes is neglected.
mm,
It's just an industry. They look at these foolish Westerners that are coming. They have no bloody clue, and they give them some plant medicine, which is most likely the real and genuine article. But the shamanic tradition and the wisdom and the connection to spirit is really missing. Now
yeah,
that's common, but there's also something more of a sinister nature that occurs, which is the fallen priesthoods. Those who are aware that now this has become fashionable. It wasn't. It was just like a local tradition, part of the local tradition and wisdom that the natives would do as needed as it was required for genuine healing. But now we have these priests that are using the altered state of consciousness to weaken the person's defenses and infiltrate them by very negative entities. So,
yeah,
just a word of caution, respectful and friendly piece of advice to our wonderful audience. If you want to do ayahuasca, make sure that you do your homework. Don't just immediately go for a booking because the price looks right. Make sure there's an establishment that is there, that first of all you're safe in 3D terms. You don't want to go and be harmed in some developing country without any way out. So this is just the practicality of the journey. But then also see if there are reviews on this establishment, that people take their time and write a lengthy review. Oh yes, this happened, I'm really happy, and then 6 months down the line I'm experiencing this and this and this. So these would be just, this is good advice for any sort of practice. Make sure they are reviewed. Don't risk it. I had a wonderful client. Now this was the gentleman's mission, in fact, to become entangled with this abuse of the spirit of ayahuasca, and then become entangled with this negative entity and defeat it. And it was a rough battle, taking years. And so the gentleman as a soul was a specialist, a warrior, a very, very high-ranking cosmic warrior that they had invited in to deal with this problem, which he did to his credit. But please be aware that just because someone claims to be spiritual, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are good or that they have your best interest in mind. They may be after your money, or they may be after your money and your energy. So it's just good practice, common sense, to keep your eyes open and just investigate everything correctly.
I've used mushrooms as a weapon, if you get what I mean. Shall I? I'll tell you my story, shall I? Because it's
Please,
completely mad.
this is fascinating. Yes.
Me, Deb and Rick do an healing event, and we were getting attacked with black magic by what I believe is the Sisterhood of 13. So, and I was wondering, how do I stop them with being kind? And I thought they need binding. They need their power stopping, basically. So I went on a ceremony, and ceremonies have got to be decent ceremonies. You've got to have like sound music, you've got to have breath work, then you've got to, so the shaman who's doing this, he's got to know his stuff, and he's got to connect to the mother plant and everything. So I connected to the plant, and I started I could see the roots going into the soil as I'm targeting these cult members, and the root ended up going shovering around the auric field, going into the heart chakra, spreading more roots into the other members, and there was 2 demons involved, and binding them and stopping them. Now I had to put a code into the roots to say that once they emit good, the roots dissolve. So I wasn't being evil, I was just stopping them doing this to other people. But then I had to have a meeting with the actual the spirit, well, the god of the plant sort of thing, the ones who run the show on the plant medicine, and they look like tree trunks with faces in, and they just wanted to say that they'd never seen because normally people like to get eye and see cosmic stuff, but they'd never seen the actual power being used to bind someone. But they actually said it was completely fine so long as it's for good purposes. It's got to be used for good purposes, and they actually said that I can call upon them again, it's fine, but if need be, can I call upon me? And I think they were just testing me there, but I said, yeah, if you ever need my help, I'm quite here, I can bring light to you if you want light, because plants tend to be all goodness, they've never been corrupted by anything. So
True. Yes, yes.
But it was I actually was like in the soil with the roots. It's like I merged with them, and I was targeting, grab the legs, swivel around, and then into the heart chakra, and then sprouts came out to all the other targets, and they were conjure up demons and stuff like that.
Oh yes,
that's a bit
wonderful.
crazy, what?
That's a very beautiful approach. Earth magic, very powerful and pure form, and you're one of those who actually brought this into being a very long time ago. So it's only befitting that you remember it and start using it once again in the correct form. So plants, oh my goodness, people are oblivious to their incredible wisdom. And as you wonderfully and correctly stated, they never became corrupt. They are incorruptible. And so they're one of those species that have maintained their connection to the beloved source of all things. It doesn't really take a great effort to start benefiting from their healing energy. You just need to find a tree that calls to you. You'll feel it inside.
Yeah.
Or maybe a forest or something like that. You'll find that spot where your soul starts singing, and you just introduce yourself. It's all in your mind. Hey, beautiful tree, you're wonderful. May I sit underneath your trunk, and may we heal each other? And you immediately start feeling it. It's one of those things. Yeah.
Can I say something? I went to one tree once. The tree told me where to go.
Oh.
I got the grumpy tree.
That is so. Some of them are nasty. They have all sorts of personalities. Yeah. And you can see it through the appearance. It's really funny. Like the happy, gracious ones, they look elegant and beautiful, and then ones with all these twisted and mangled branches.
This had a nickname. It had a nickname, the Devil's Tree. So I probably did. I probably should have done it.
Yep. And so that is so true. But one of the good applications, people just have heard of tree huggers and they think it's some sort of a hippie crap. Excuse my language, but there's so much more to it, especially for those who have just started their journey of energy work. Like they've just done Reiki level 1 or just started Qigong or Tai Chi. These trees, because they're so big in terms of biomass, they're hundreds of times the size of a human. And if they accept your invitation to play, they'll draw energy from you, so you're a channel for this healing energy, and it's like having an extra jet engine in addition to your own heart, pulling in energy. It will significantly strengthen one.
Yeah, 25 years ago, I was doing a accredited course. It took 2 years, it's spiritual accreditation. And I was healing this female, and I took something nasty out of her, something like possibly cancer. And all my guides were saying, get out quick. And ow, get to a tree. So I ran out of the course, ran straight out. And he said, ask permission. Can I have permission, quick? Put my hand on the tree, took it out. It was a nasty thing that I took out.
Spot on. Spot
Yeah.
on. You just reminded me of an event that also occurred. So this is probably 3-4 years back. Something very powerful. And so I believe it was the first experience coming face to face with an archon. And so I had absolutely no clue. And I got injected with poison. And so I was just walking around looking for a tree. I found the tree and I sat underneath the tree all night. Just with my head there, just hugging it, facing the tree, and it actually transmuted it for me. Now, this kind of energetic poisoning can lead to organ failure. It's not the physical, it's not the chemical substance that does damage, but it leads to organ failure and death. Trees are powerful and wonderful allies. And so it's good to be aware of the location of the most powerful ones in every area that you live. We've got some wonderful ones.
We keep on triggering each other. You reminded me of something. A medium told me about 5 years ago, why have you got reef material around your organs? And I said it's in case the archons attack the organs. So, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So mine's like second protections, because if they can't get you spiritually, why not they just kill you? But if they can kill us off, then we've got to be rebirthed somewhere, and it's a lot of messing, a lot of thing. And this precise timing makes it even more difficult. So,
yes.
Good way of getting rid of it, though.
It doesn't solve their problem. It just delays the problem. So sometimes they may go for that option, which sometimes backfires. So being liberated from the vessel means that you're no longer obligated to follow a certain set of rules and contracts that you had to accept in order to come into a body. In point and fact, you are liberated, and then you are unleashed.
Unless you're walking like me, then you didn't sign up to anything.
Naughty. Hey, you know what? If it works, go for it, you know?
Yeah.
But your approach comes with its own challenges. It's not an easy path.
No.
Let's just put it this way. It's a bumpy ride. There's no easy way in.
No. In fact, we've digressed so far there, but it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Are we doing about quantum jumping?
Trees, and so let's talk about that actually. Quantum jumping. So the word quantum, it's become new age ear candy. And everyone who wants to appear intelligent uses this word without knowing what it refers to physically in the 3D and then energetically. And that is a big problem. So first of all, the quantum in 3D comes from quantified units of measurement. And it refers to discrete and quantifiable bands of energy where electrons can be present, dancing around the atom. They can't just be anywhere they wish. So they're discrete bands of energy. Going up takes energy, and usually as they collapse to a lower orbit, they emit radiation, sometimes in the form of light. Now this is used in great variation and different approaches in our technology. So that's the physical side. But it's also then referred to, and I don't quite get how this is linked and how this works out, but it refers to the dimension of time. So quantum jumping, then this is assumed that we're going from one timeline to the other. Perhaps something that would make sense is quantum entanglement, meaning that the dimensions of time and the 3 dimensions of space are illusory. They don't really exist. They're just limitations of the physical world. And so once we go above the physical dimension, now this is also mathematically and scientifically observable and provable, that there are particles that are entangled beyond space and time. faster than light, and distance does not matter. So that is pretty much, quantum physics is the scientific proof of spirituality. Now, going along those lines, it seems that we are in a simulated reality. Let's call it the universal matrix. Now, the scale of this game or this experiment is truly vast. It's a multi-timeline, multi-dimensional experiment. So it's not just one stream that goes. There are many, many parallel sequences of code that are possible. And it seems that through choice points, we may change the storyline of the game. And we still may remember in the physical construct of the brain past events that no longer match one-to-one with the new set of, let's say, conditions of the game once the code has been shifted.
So bit jumping like from Mandela effect, isn't it?
Mandela effect, yeah.
Yeah.
So it usually occurs through choice points. So there's let's say, a number of choices or preferences. This is a fascinating topic, preferences that we usually go for. We may choose in a critical moment something that is monumentally brave or monumentally dumb. And that seems to give rise to a shift in the codes where timelines are altered. So in a moment where you're faced with, let's say, something life-threatening, and you show incredible valor, you say, you know what, to hell with all of you, I'm not breaking. I'm with the light, and that is it. That seems to change things dramatically. Or in a place of responsibility where you're entrusted with the well-being of many, suddenly you give out or you sell out. And then that will shift to another set of timelines. So it's basically from one choice point to another. We have a potential number of timelines available. Depending on what we choose, the code changes. We can go here and then from here to the next one and next one. This has now been used in predictive modeling and artificial intelligence. Although at this point, we're limited by computational power and energy because these computations are expensive. They burn a lot of electricity.
Well, why do you think we get the Mandela? This is digressing again. We love digressing. I believe the Mandela effect is to do with CERN, and I think them timelines do a wobble, and some of them timelines go offset into our timeline. So it's like the CERN is actually affecting the timeline by like wobbling it, like shaking it like an earthquake, and we become a slightly different one. I think a lot of us have got past experiences. I've got one like the Mona Lisa smile. I actually did an essay at English to say why she didn't smile, but now she smiles. so there you go. I would have liked to meet, but that English essay book, if I had it now, it would have a different story in it because I'm in a different timeline. I get that. People say, well, why is it the writing from the past changes? It's because the old timeline of that part has changed.
You're in a different game.
Yeah.
The start of the game and the storyline of the game and how it's flowing forward, so to speak, this is different. Oh yes, absolutely possible. You also see this occurring when you do a shamanic healing. Let's be more specific, a soul shard retrieval. So you're going back to the event of trauma, healing it, and then pulling back that missing shard of the soul. When it's integrated, there are correction waves that emanate from the point of correction in all directions. So things around start changing. Certain injuries or cords or attachments just dissolve away because the reason for them existing is gone.
Yeah, a bit like when you go in timelines to cancel a curse out. You're cancelling it from its start point, and it's like a vibration in it. It's like a shudder where everything starts changing.
It's a correction wave where then the codes are altered and corrected towards that event not existing ever. And so many of these energetic healings that are done by wonderful and capable healers. They're mass healing. It's not just one person that's benefiting from it. Entire bloodlines, potentially hundreds of millions of people, are benefiting from one healing event.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
you mentioned CERN. I think so. Now, if this is possible through human consciousness, which is advanced technology, it should be possible through other types of, let's say, machine technology, using laws of physics to simulate the same effect. So those ripples and effects in time through experiments in physics, colliding particles, and the byproducts of that, which I must admit I don't fully understand, but it is most certainly possible.
I remember, what do you call it, Josie's girlfriend in James Bond, and she had braces, and she had a little sparkle star that went all the way like that, like Disney. That never existed. And then some people remember it not existing, so they're basically they're in the same timeline, but you're not in a different timeline. So it becomes crazy how some people disagree with you and some people agree with you. It's because the old timeline's shook together. It's a bit like getting a pot of different coins and shaking them violently, and all of a sudden they've mixed, and
Yeah.
you don't know. Just the
Or
way
you've
it
got a
is.
glass of clear water and you put a drop of ink,
Yeah.
and before it all mixes perfectly and normalizes, you've got these boundaries of separation, as you can see the ink twirling in the water with its wonderful patterns. So it seems this whole thing about time is not a solid, unchangeable, one directional thing. It is multi-directional. So so in the shamanic practices, we've got past and future, back and forward, but then we also have left and right, and these are other timelines, other realities. The interesting thing is that sometimes one aspect of a being in another timeline can negatively impact all other aspects. So the
I,
person is gone, yeah, they've
yeah,
gone dark.
I wouldn't recommend it on the simple reason when you start doing magic to change your timeline, you always get bitten by something. Something else might change that you don't recommend. So I wouldn't recommend it.
It's entirely unpredictable. I mean, you
Yeah,
don't have the data to make any sort of logical decision. So you're just tossing a coin or throwing the dice. You can't be sure if it's going to be desirable or undesirable. Very risky. And then, of course, there's that sort of negative impact from, let's say, 4 lifetimes in the future, 5 timelines to the left, one aspect of the being goes dark side and starts abusing magic, and then foolishly drawing in energy from other aspects of themselves. Now, this I've also seen. You got to, and that usually occurs through trauma. They go through a heartbreak or a loss, and they go crazy. They say, you know what, screw it. I'm pulling in energy from everywhere, and to hell with everybody else. This time business is a mess. Now, speaking about time, it seems that it has been used as a weapon many, many times, as a weapon of mass destruction, causing the elimination of life or a great portion of life on Earth. And this has happened more than once. Now, the good news is that certain beings that specialize in that type of portal, or that type of portal technology, which is the dimension of time, are brought in to govern and safeguard the sanctity of time. So this cannot be weaponized any longer.
I've got a story on that one. I've got loads of stories. I smashed a window. My bathroom is, I'm on a bungalow and my bathroom is connected to the wash house. And I smashed the window of my bathroom. And I was just getting out of the bath and I looked and there was a piece of wood and there was 2 aliens watching me. And I thought, And then I went back and he disappeared. I went past that level and he disappeared again. It was just that certain level. And there were two aliens watching. So I had a word with one of the neighbours. One of the neighbours, when she was 8, she remembered a craft above my house where the bathroom is. So what they'd done is they'd found out where I'd lived. They'd gone in time and they'd put a camera sort of system in the wood of the building to check on me. So all of a sudden the crystals came out to close it. So that is, they're not using it as a weapon, but they're using it as a manipulating CCTV before I even got in there. And
Yes.
that's quite mad how they can do that. And these look like ET, you know, the ET film. They look like ET.
Yes. Yes. So
Right.
beyond the, let's say, fourth and fifth dimension, where you have access to, by the way, this is quite natural for humans. It's our birthright to be fifth dimensional. So if you can see past and future incarnations and also have access to side timelines, you're already fifth dimensional. And so the entire lifespan in one body can be observed in its entirety. So you're no longer entangled to the linear sequence of time. And so you may choose points of interest, both for, let's say, data mining, observing important sequences, or going, let's say, a little bit before that and planting the measurement equipment. It can also then be used for warfare. So if they want to get to a certain soul, they know when that consciousness is most vulnerable. So times immediately after a traumatic loss, or let's say a betrayal or some health event, when the defenses are low, that is observable in the entirety of this incarnation, which can be observed in one go.
Yeah.
And so it's not just others that can do this, we can also do this. So right now, if our wonderful audience feels that they're in a good place, and they're healthy and they're happy and they're strong, now is the time to fortify your reality. So we talked about fortification of the astral realm as part of defenses. Now let's talk about the fortification of the dimension of time. So in a point where you are healthy, strong, and your connection to the beloved source is unimpeded, now you send out waves of blessings and healing towards all aspects of yourself. So you're putting a shield around your incarnation in this lifetime, but you may go further back and further forward. So for example, I've given myself the Dragon Reiki Master empowerments for the next future 100 lifetimes. No matter what happened. Yeah.
Do we put a little ad there? Yeah. If you want your Dragon Reiki, Amir can give you the course.
Ding, 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 ding. Yes. So this is a thing, ladies and gentlemen. Really, the problem that most of humanity is now suffering from is that we have believed or been brainwashed into believing we are small. That is untrue. And so we must shed all these limitations from our consciousness that we are cosmic. We are aspects of the beloved source of all things. And so by very nature, and this is our birthright, we have access to everything everywhere, including time.
What you were saying then about the new timeline. Now, if you're high vibrational and you've come from outside the matrix and you're here to rescue Earth, basically, you've got dark controllers. Normally they're following your path. And I went through a dark night of the soul when my wife died, and I was in a very bad place. And they got me with addiction, and I started gambling away everything I'd ever got. And at my lowest point, my soul anger, now soul anger is more powerful than brain anger, opened my remote viewing, and I saw these 4 beings that looked like from Star Wars, actually. The beings that I could describe them were laughing. They were enjoying me going down because they'd got me, they'd lost me. And my soul anger came up and froze them in my timeline. And a medium 2 years ago who I didn't know contacted me, and she said, I don't know if you can get this, but I've been given a message off these beings that are stuck in your timeline. Can you free them? So, well, I ended up freeing them to source. That's the only way I do it. I asked David to give us a hand on a secret one. I said, we need to freeze these. I don't want to send them out. I don't want to release them, because what they did is they tried to screw my life up. So I sent them to source. So that's as bad as it gets, where if you've got an addiction, they will try and feed that addiction when you're at your lowest point, and they'll try and get you. I don't have them beings anymore around me.
Yes. This is true. There is profound and beautiful, sublime wisdom to all there is. And so our presence here in human bodies at this particular juncture, it by very definition means that we are incredibly powerful. It's not a place for baby souls. It's a place for masters to become grandmasters. And so absolutely, as we come in, we're faced with all sorts of nonsense, interference, attacks. And so by the very fact that we survive, we have won. Because, ladies and gentlemen, have no doubt in your mind, these forces have only one thing in mind. They wish to either break you or destroy you. And those of you that are still here, that you are alive, and you have your heart connected to Source, you have won. That is our victory.
The other thing they'd like to do is get you to work for them. That is their goal.
Go dark side. Yeah.
If they can get you corrupted and everything, then they really won. Yeah.
Now, you just reminded me of something wonderful. Now, there may be many in our wonderful audience. At one point of their life, they may have actually gone dark side. But there is greater wisdom underlying these events. That in going in and becoming free, you are breaking the prison doors behind you, level by level by level by level, and basically diminishing and weakening the energetic hold of the entire system, not just liberating yourself, but making liberation so much easier for those who also are in that same situation. So these beings don't just interfere and harm one individual. They are involved with many. And so as they are removed or defeated, automatically many are relieved and they have an easier way to ascend. So please don't feel any shame or any guilt towards any period of your life. It is you here now that is important. And so going wrong, perhaps if you look at it from a more elevated point of view, has its own purpose in terms of fixing things in a grander scale.
When I was a child, I was quite dark, and my answer to this, I was collecting dark space for my soul, and a transcendental medium once said, your soul is the lightest soul, she's the brightest soul, but what the dark bits? And it's so I can go to dark space, and I look like one of them. So I could go into low levels, and I'm disguised because I don't look the bright light. I can take these dark spaces and make my soul look dark, and it's like a disguise. So I did that deliberately.
Oh, yes. Camouflage technology is used by both sides, and so it's a good tool when you want to go in and get out without causing any kind of, let's say, ruckus. You don't want alarms to be raised, or you're not there on a crusade, or you're not there to heal and fix anything. It's just let's say, incursion, a covert op. You want to go in, observe something, and get the hell out. Camouflage, yeah, absolutely. But I don't take that approach personally. I go supernova, like, hey, come at me. Like, I don't care. I'm like bulldozing in, clearing a path, observing what I need to, and then bulldozing back out.
I did that once, and these tree spirits were arguing that I shouldn't be in their realm. It's against the rules. And I started thinking afterwards, I thought, well, tree spirits are good, but then I realised that low dimensions don't have to be dark. You can get good beings there, they just like that sort of energy. But
Yes. Oh,
two
yes.
tree
Yes.
spirits having a go at me saying, I was like, I chasing a demon at the time, you should not be there, and I was thinking, oh, I swore at them and just went. So, yeah,
Wonderfully said.
yeah.
Now, they're domains that are more dense than our physical reality. And so just because they are located in a different, let's say, interval, it doesn't mean they're good or bad. So they don't
Mm,
equate to good and evil. That is so true.
mm,
Also, the same thing. So we're talking about a very evolved ninth dimensional species, and they're idiots. They're selfish. Just because they're
mm,
in 9D doesn't make them good.
mm.
This is correct. So we got to shed racism from our mind. It's not just about the color of skin among the human species. It refers to other races and other beings that are non-human, energetic, most of them. Just because something comes from, let's say, the underworld doesn't make it bad. Or just because it comes from the realm of primordial light doesn't make it good either.
Yeah, the underworld is quite strange because the good and the light and the dark are like separated, which is strange. The other thing is like, oh, I've been connecting with Pleiadians. There's a lot of dark Pleiadians. Don't just presume they're good.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't it an offshoot of the Pleiadians that was working with the Nazis?
Mm,
And so that whole purity of race garbage, that was their influence pretty much.
mm,
Through the Ananerbe and Thule Society, their whole mystics were connected to these Pleiadians. And yes, they look beautiful and they look very attractive and shiny, but oh no, they're not very nice.
mm,
Um,
mm. Bit like, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, we haven't even talked about aliens yet.
well,
Don't
I
think that's
think
this week.
this well, hey, timelines. Yeah, let's call this one time.
Mm.
Um, Quantum shifting in time or something along those lines. We can do aliens next time.
Have you done out this week? We did a group with you, Mike, I think his name. He's got one of the crystal skulls, the original crystal skulls. So I was trying to remove the tech from Antarctic, and part of it is run by an Atlantean crystal, one of the main Atlantean crystals, and he used the crystal skulls to change its programming, and I thought that was so clever. That's what I would do.
Oh, beautiful.
So and an Archon dismised itself again. Got rid of an Archon. Yeah, another one.
And see, this is really really good because these guys, there's not that many of them.
Mm,
They're very few,
yeah,
and so it seems that these are being removed from our universe conclusively. This is something to celebrate.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
of course, there might be others who want to fill the ranks and be promoted, but they're nowhere as effective as the original archons.
Mm.
So that's a great victory towards balance.
Yeah,
Again, there's no
this machine was sending power through the earth to create weather, to create earthquakes, to create anything really. If they can send an energy field, a frequency to any part of the earth, they can do a lot of damage. And it's Atlantean tech. It looked quite
yeah,
modern, but inside the engine of it was an Atlantean crystal. So
right.
we've just changed
Right.
the programming on that, so they won't go. But
So I would.
I had to invade with the dragons. I had to attack, so they wouldn't know what we were doing deeply, which was changing their programming, basically.
You just liberated a prisoner of war. That crystal was not originally designed to cause damage. Quite to the
No.
contrary, it was a moderator. or let's say a rectifier, keeping things within a comfortable region or zone of energy, preventing exactly those storms or earthquakes, extending the, let's say, the friendly and conducive environment for life, so damage would not happen. So pretty much a preventative measure against earthquakes and tsunamis. Then once the custodians fell, the crystal was left without its carers, and then changed, forced into doing what it did. So well done. That was a wonderful job. When beings of such light and beauty are forced and coerced into causing harm, that is a terrible thing to observe.
Yeah, exactly. It was always win-win. Yeah.
So, shall we use the bowl and cleanse and bless the energy and send blessings towards our wonderful, wonderful audience?
Have we got any questions? I haven't looked. Should have looked. I have got one. Yeah,
okay.
Someone asked me that something called sugar, which quite a few people know, has mentioned that the Dragon Collective are dark. Now I've been trying to check it out, and this is a long time ago. This is in our early days, and I checked it, and I think there was a split. The light and dark collective actually physically split from each other, and they're saying, can the dark collective be rescued? I think the question they can be rescued, but do they want to be rescued? And I'm getting yes, actually.
Oh, well, the majority, I would say yes. Let's just look at each individual shard of consciousness. First and foremost, interested in self-preservation. So this also includes growth, thriving, and evolution, becoming better. So we all have this motivation in common. Now, for whatever reason, they may have veered off balance and become skewed towards one of the polarities. Now, as we move away from sacred balance, our resistance to the source light becomes greater. At perfect balance, we become superconductors, zero resistance, and that's the most optimal place to be to evolve. And so when this truth is presented to the beings that, hey, buddy, you're skewed off, there's no judgment here, but right now you're massively resistive to the light of source and therefore evolution. Would you like to come back to a more balanced place? So of course, coming back from that position would require undoing certain damage that has done. It is not a free ride, but coming back to balance, you can evolve again in a state of superconductivity, zero resistance. And in my humble observation, I may say that perhaps 85% of them say yes. So, and then maybe 10-15% are so badly gone, they do not see the merit in balance. They think that through this extremism, they can forge their own reality, and they think they are better than the prime creator and rah-rah. Well, we have fire for that.
I brought me a little dragon to the event. The event I didn't know we were going to have. The Emerald Dragons have said they'll work with us with the sound bowls to release them. Now, does that sound like a... So we might have to do it a few minutes longer.
Yes, towards the highest good of all, and the balance and superconductivity, so that more light of the beloved source may flow through us, so that we may experience the truth that we are shards of the beloved source. All help is welcome.
Yeah. So rescue mission.
Closing
the event by doing a rescue mission. That's what I like to do.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Let it go. minute. That was good. That was good.
Oh yeah.
I saw a funnel going to the dragons and like a vortex going around them. So yeah, a lot of them were just saved. So amazing. Yeah, thank you. It's good. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's quite astounding. That was.
Oh yes. That was. I think this one was the most powerful one we've done so far. And so how befitting the rescue mission. Yeah.
And we were going to do aliens. That'll have to be next week.
We will do that. Yes. We'll do the aliens next week.
Yeah.
But that's not something you hear every day. Okay. So, my wonderful friend Philip, I wish you the best, and to our wonderful audience, thank you.
And
We love you.
any questions, put them on the YouTube. And if you have done a question last week, I will find it tonight and I'll put it for next week. Yeah.
Take care, everyone. Thank you,
Okay.
Philip. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye
Have a
for
good
now.
night. Bye then.
You too. Bye.
Bye.